Hi. Today, let's dive into a topic which is a make or break in the job search process, which is the most crucial point of a job hunt, and that is the offer negotiation process. Hi, this is Nimisha, a global recruiter and the founder of Dignity Consultants. Throughout this video, I'm going to be talking to you about salary negotiation and offer discussions, how to handle it, how to get a raise, and I'm going to try my best to give you unique tips that are not generally available. Especially in the end, I share two secret tips which will help you definitely. So let's begin. The first thing that you need to know is the offer negotiation stage. It's a very short process. Any company is going to give you an offer letter saying that they want a reply in say 2 days or 1 day. That is a kind of timeline that they're going to give you to understand an offer, analyze, and accept it. So you have to be prepared beforehand. That's a very tight time to make such a crucial decision. So what you do is you start preparing the offer scenarios while you progress in the interview process. So when you are reaching the final round of interviews, the round with the top management, you know that this is positive, this can turn into an offer, and that is the time that you should start thinking of what will you do in the offer scenarios in this company. What is it will that is the advantage that you will have? Well, if this is the company that you are joining, what is it that can kind of work against you if this company makes an offer, and what kind of offer you really are going to willing to be accepting it depending on your situation. So this homework should be done before you actually get the offer on paper, so that you are ready. This at least doubles the time that you have to understand your offer. Yeah. So when we talk of preparing for the offer, which would mean that you will start researching that what is the kind of salaries companies offer for your role, what are your friends with similar experience and similar role getting, and so on. But let me tell you, firstly, if you go on the internet researching on websites like Glassdoor and salary.com and so on, they are not very reliable. Yeah, I tried doing that search myself, and I say on that if you go on some of these websites, they have old data of 2021 being shown in 2023 also. No, at the same time, they offer a big range of salary that is given. So if you go asking that what is the range for a HR manager, they might show you something like 5 to 13 lakhs, which is the average salary. So that's a big range, and you can't be expected to say that okay, if I'm getting 5 lakhs, I want 13 lakhs because that's the higher side. Or if you are getting 13, you would not say okay, I'm getting just the highest that the average of the industry is, so I don't want much of high. We will always want to improve, right? And there are a lot of sub factors which these websites and all that are failing to consider. In the similar industry also, there's a company size, company culture, city, and so on that determines what kind of salary one person gets. Yeah. So you can go on these sites and you can research, but that is not going to be very very reliable. In India, it is a standard practice that any company is going to take your documents before they make an offer to you, and they will offer you a salary which is about 30 to 40% hike on your on your existing salary at the max. With like, I don't know of any company which will offer you more than that without some very very valid reasons that that can be added to your profile. So we'll come to those valid reasons also a little later in the profile, but generally you have to be prepared for a hike of about 25 to 40% at max. Yeah, that is the general industry standard. Whatever research, whatever it is, all that will not matter. This is what the company is going to offer you in 90% of the scenarios. You don't need to get demotivated listening to this that companies will not offer you more than that of a hike. Company will offer you a hike more than that in scenarios. Number one, if you have a counter offer. If you have an offer which is already giving you a 30% hike on your existing salary, the next company that wants to select you logically has to give you a hike which is much more attractive than the 30% hike. And how much hike they will give you, that is again going to depend on how the interview and all the process has gone, but they will definitely give you a higher hike than what you have on the offer. So your offer becomes the benchmark and not your existing salary. So that is one very very common practice these days. Offer shopping has been happening. So that is a practice how you are able to increase your market value or get a good hike while you are giving the job, while you are searching the job for one position. Secondly, what works in your favor, things like if you have, let's say you have completed an MBA recently and the earlier job was before your MBA, this is going to be with MBA. If you completed your CA recently, these are scenarios where you would have bigger jumps available. That's a very strong point to give you a jump much bigger than the standard practice, because you have added a significant degree to your qualification. If you are relocating from one city to the other, that is going to be a reason where you can ask for more hike. If so, what happens once you get an offer? Firstly, make sure that you get an offer in writing. Many HR would try and call you, ask you, negotiate, and after that give you the final offer in writing. And they would avoid giving you the offer figures before that. But always make sure that you get the first offer that is available, that the HR is making to you in writing along with the breakup. It can be a formal email, or it can be in today's time maybe a PDF on, like a WhatsApp or so on. But always make sure that you have the salary working, complete yearly and monthly both available to you. Take your time and study that. Understand that how the HR has worked on the salary breakup. You can negotiate everything on that document, and you have to know that what is more important, what you need to negotiate, what you need to understand. At this time, also remember that if there is any vagueness or discrepancy in what is being put on paper, you can go back and ask the HR n number of times. You are one of the most important person for them at this moment. You are a VIP. Over all everything else, they are going to put your queries on front, because they have to close the position. It is important for the company, for the recruiter, for the HR, everybody, and they would want to take this as a top priority. So make sure that you ask all the questions and have a very, very clear understanding of what is being offered. In the scenario that you are offered what you asked for during the interview, if you want a hike, you will need a justification beyond the fact that you wanted this salary. Yeah. But in the scenario that the company is offering you lesser than what you asked for, let's say you were getting 6 lakhs, you asked for 8 and the company has offered you 7, you can go back with the very valid reason saying that this is what I was looking at. And what you have to also make sure is that when you revert about the expectations, you also do that in writing and email. A verbal discussion with the HR is not as helpful as putting it in writing. Ideally, first speak to the person on the call and then put the same thing on the email, and at one time ensure that you cover all the things that you want to negotiate about. If you want to change your take home salary, talk of that. If you are looking at something like a relocation bonus, a joining a bonus, and so on, add everything in one email, so that at one time the HR knows that they can go through the entire expectation and come up with a revised offer. If possible, and if you feel comfortable, keep a bracket where you know that if you are asking for, say, we are taking an example of 6 to 8 lakhs. So if you ask for 8 and they come back to you with 7.5, if you are willing, keep that in mind and accept when the revised offer comes in. If you are not willing, that is also okay. If you want 8, stick to 8. Have your logic in place, and the company will work on it. But at the same time, in such a scenario, be prepared to walk off for another offer if that is not happening. But that is something that you have to decide based on your reality. How urgently do you need a job? What are the bills that you have pending? What are your goals in the near future? What kind of company is this going to be? How that is going to benefit your career? Otherwise, keeping all this in mind, at one time come up with all the details, work on it and put it in writing to the HR, and they will be able to work on it and come back to you. At this time though, you have to be prepared to be very calm and poised and polite, because it is going to also be a lot of pressure, especially if HR has made you a decent offer. They are always going to come back and want you to accept it or give you a little lesser and make sure, because that's their job, but you will also have to stick to your stand. Don't feel like okay, 2 बार अगर HR ने बोल दिया कि अरे नहीं होगा 8 तो ठीक है 7.5. They have to go back and see, and you have to be sure that you'll be able to deliver later on that salary. So keep that in mind. So make sure that all that you are sharing in the email is logically inferred and is valid. So if you say that you are shifting a city and you have your children to take care of in terms of education, the cost will change, like maybe you will have to pay the admission fees forefront and so on, and there could be donations and everything kind of involved. Make that as a case. If you're relocating to a city from one city to another, that there'll be expenses in terms of finding a house and so on. Make that as a case. Point being that in your whole negotiation, the HR or the decision makers should be able to see that what you're asking is valid and logical, and is important to have you on board happy and motivated. So no company wants a new joinee to come with a grumpy side to the company. So they would always want you to come happy and motivated, because they are waiting for results to be shown and they will work towards it. Yeah. So you have to give valid and logical reasons and be sure that the company will work towards it. And this is also a point where you are able to kind of judge a company culture. So let's say during the interview, a company told you, okay, the salary doesn't matter and so on, and then they offer you a meager 10% hike, on the paper. Or if there's a company which told you that we kind of stand by our employees, give them what good hikes, and then they actually offer you the hike that you wanted. This tells you about the company culture, and this also tells you about how going further in the company, when you start working, how you will be treated when it comes to promotions and salary raises and so on. So this can also be a red flag, and tread cautiously on this situation and judge the company and analyze the company on this. Now coming to the two tips that I spoke of. So when I talking of your strengths in the interview, or talking of the strengths to negotiate your offer, always take inputs from the interview itself. During the interview, a company will explain, when they explain you the JD, when they explain you the expectations, always take pointers from there to negotiate your offer. Why would you want a 30% instead of a 25% or a 35%? You have to be able to justify it based on the company's needs. So if they are launching a new product and you have a great background of having launched a successful product, bank on that. If they are looking at somebody who should be able to handle a bigger team than you are currently handling, and they see that confidence that you will be able to deliver in that team, that is your advantage. Or similar, if you have worked on a project which is similar, let's say they are looking at somebody who's worked on a Java, and you have worked on that kind of projects in Java, that is your advantage. Similar experience, their need that you are able to fulfill, and that guarantee and that confidence that you showed during the offer negotiation stage, or when you take your stand for a certain offer, that is going to work for you. Secondly, if you have a recruiter involved, if you are involved with a recruitment consultant when you are kind of going to the company, make sure that you involve the consultant in the bargaining or the negotiating process. So you will be talking to the company for the first time, or you would be talking to the HR maybe twice or thrice and so on. But the recruiter has been in touch with the same people day in and day out. They must be handling multiple positions in that same company and so on. So they understand the company, the HR, and they have a rapport where they will be able to maybe put your case even better. So always make sure you keep them sounded and involved in the process. I'm not saying that you don't do your part. You do your part, but keep the recruiter in the loop, because that can also add to your advantage. They can also give you perspectives and insights, and they can help you in the process. So these are the two tips. All the best for your negotiations. I'm sure you will be able to get hikes more than what you have been getting so far. Thank you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, and also know that currently I'm offering my subscribers a 30-minute free call to talk about anything in their careers, CVs, resumes, interviews, or offers, or existing job challenges also. Yeah, so you can reach out to me on that. Thank you so much.